The following is a presentation of the Mat Talk Podcast Network.
You've always got time for Short Time.
Hey, it's Mario Lopez.
David Taylor.
Brent Metcalf. Johnny Hendricks. Tony Ramos. Bubba J.
Mike Golick.
Matthew Modine. The one and only Chael Sonnen. And you are listening to the one and only Short Time Wrestling Podcast by the often imitated and never duplicated Jason Bryant.
Now up on the Short Time Wrestling Podcast as we head into the holiday break with episode 299. Our guest today, three-time All-American, two-time NCAA Division I champion, and currently ranked number one in the country. He is now the destroyer of hopes and dreams for people at 184. Gabe Dean. Gabe, welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, okay. I'm making a joke when I say the destroyer of hopes and dreams, but you have been on a mission this year. 13-0, everything bonus, 10 falls. The first question people are asking is, are you motivated by the Hodge Trophy? Is this the reason you're just basically beating the tar out of people?
I guess this is going to come to a surprise for probably a lot of those people, but I'm actually not. I'm just kind of trying to keep things simple, and the goal is to be as fun as possible to watch this year. I believe our sport needs guys to go out there and take more risk and try to score a lot of points and go for big falls and stuff like that. And that's kind of that's my goal, to be that. And then I just kind of let the rest take care of itself. So I'm just having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying being a part of this great program for one last year, and I'm just trying to be fun to watch because that's what our sport needs.
I enjoy watching you wrestle because just the way you just demoralize your opponents. And it's not necessarily David Taylor was known for teching people and putting up a lot of points and flashing them and beating them soundly. You're just grinding into them. I mean, it's like you could beat a guy up 4-1 or you could beat a guy up 14-1. What is the difference in those type of matches when you're physically dominating somebody, even though the scoreboard doesn't indicate that it was as big of a gap as you think it would be?
I think it's like, there's a lot of hand fighting involved, and I did some Greco work over the summer going into my junior year that helped me a lot, and just being able to get comfortable in some positions. But you really you want to control the pace of the match. You never want to let your opponent control that pace, and you want to keep them on there reacting the whole time. And like I said, mentally you're just at peace with how you're going to wrestle every single match, and you stay consistent. And you can't control the outcome of wrestling matches, so you let that take care of itself. And whether it's 4-1 or 14-1, like you said, you don't really want to have any regrets at the end of the day on how you wrestled. So as long as you go out there and wrestle as hard as you can, and do everything that you can to score and attack, and score points, that's all you can do.
Talk about the opportunity to wrestle Miles Martin open the year at the All-Star Classic. When that opportunity was presented to you, what was going through your mind?
Oh, just, a great opportunity to wrestle a very, very great opponent. Miles, got a lot of respect for Miles. Obviously, he's a hard worker, and he's an incredible athlete. I've kind of just, as I go along this year, it's like, you only get an opportunity to do this one more time. You only get to do this one more time. Everything's kind of the last time, so why not do it? I guess in everything you kind of risk winning and losing wrestling matches, but that's not. It's no fun to live in fear. You just got to go out there and you got to compete and you got to enjoy, that last journey. And I'm kind of approaching this year that way, because I don't get to do this anymore after this year, and I've been so grateful for all the opportunities, and as they continue to present themselves, I try to continue to jump on them because, that's what keeps you young, keeps you alive, and keeps that, it's just fun. So
you're coming off a weekend going down to Oklahoma where Cornell went bedlam. They wrestled Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, and you had already avenged this loss before. With Nolan Boyd, he beat you last year, was your only loss of the season last year. You end up winning that match in the quarterfinals. But then the dual meet, again, destroyer of dreams. It's a major decision. It wasn't close. What was it about being able to kind of pump on the, step on the gas and just say, this guy beat me last year. I blew through him this year. Was there something a little more in the back of your mind when you're wrestling Nolan Boyd going, yeah, I know I've already beaten him once, but I need to make this a statement win?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Nolan's obviously a very good wrestler, and he's tough, and he wrestles hard, and I respect that, and I love that. Anyone that's going to come out and wrestle hard it's always fun for me because it's always a great challenge, and again, it's pretty simple for me. Whether I'm wrestling the best guy in the country or the first round of an opening tournament, I approach it the same way. Just move out there. I'm gonna wrestle as hard as I can and focus on the things that I can control, prepare the best way, and let the rest take care of itself. And I try to keep consistent in my preparation up to every single match, because it's not necessarily what you're doing out there in the moment, but everything that you do leading up to that moment that really determines the outcome of a match. So I think preparation is huge, and how you live your lifestyle and how you go about your business and how you go about getting ready for those competitions is what I take a lot of pride in.
You say you like guys when they're going to wrestle you. What frustrates you as a wrestler?
I think a lot of guys can speak to what frustrates them most when a guy just won't wrestle, won't attack, won't fight you, will trying to, get out of the match, not giving up any points, isn't out there to, try to win, is just out there to not lose that bad. That kind of mindset, I think that's, probably the most frustrating. You always want guys that are going to go out there and, you scrap it out and get after it. And when you got some guys that go out there and they just try to shut down and not do anything and just, that's probably the most frustrating part, because, it's not what our sport needs. Again, like and as I've come to realize over my career is, it's not even necessarily about winning and losing in wrestling anymore. It's just about making it fun to watch. So going out there and just being fun to watch is what's going to help our sport grow and keep it alive and keep it fun and put fans in the seats. So and that's really what matters. So I'd say the defensive, the really defensive people, and I'm sure I'm guilty of this at different times in my career when I was younger in the past as well, but the defensive style of wrestling is kind of frustrating to wrestle against.
You've had the opportunity to wrestle a lot of All-Americans and national champs over the course of your career. Who are the guys you like wrestling the most so far? My freshman year, obviously, me and Ed had a couple wars there, and Ed was always fun to wrestle because, obviously he's going to go out there and he's, Ed liked to put up a lot of points, and he was really slick, and our styles were kind of polar opposites, but we were driven by the same things, to score points, and so that was really fun. I mean, Ed's doing great now in Bellator and fighting world now, and then some guys, guys like Brett Farr. He moved up to 97. He was really fun to wrestle. I'm sure, and I would love to. I'm sure Jaden Cox would be a lot of fun to wrestle. I respect guys when I see Kyle Snyder out there. I know he's out there to, score points, and obviously his accolades speak for themselves. I don't know. I love watching guys. Even when I was a kid, I loved watching guys like Brent Metcalf. I'm a little biased because he's from Michigan. I'm from Michigan, but he was out there and he was just always on the attack. David Taylor's and those kind of people. There's a lot of really good wrestlers that I've wrestled. And I got a lot of respect for them all. There's not been anybody that I really didn't respect at all that I've wrestled so far in my career. Everybody's been great. So, it's just been a lot of fun. I can't really name anybody in particular. But it's been a great time, and it's been a treat for me. Is there one guy you definitely don't want to see toe the line and be like, man, not this guy again? I mean, you might have some success against, but it's like, this guy gives me fits.
No, not really. Not really. I think everybody brings different stuff to the table, and that's what makes it fun, you know. So I think I'm really up for anything. I think it's fun to wrestle anybody, and I wouldn't back down to any single person that steps on the line across to me. And I wouldn't be thinking, oh, this guy gives me fits. You know, you shake your hand with your opponent, you shake your hand after the match is over, and you walk away, and that's it. So I don't think there's anybody that I don't want to wrestle.
Now, say there's a guy named Gabe Dean steps across the line, and his opponent is Gabe Dean. How do you wrestle yourself without giving away any trade secrets? If you're wrestling you, how would you approach it?
That would be an interesting, because we both be approaching it the same way. So we both be coming at each other from the same angle, which would be really interesting. It's too bad you can't do that with some people. You can't take them and wrestle against each other. I'm speaking for me personally. I try to live pretty. I try to wrestle with a simple mindset, and everything in my life, I try to, especially during wrestling season, very simplistic. And tries to keep, very even keel about everything, keep stress low, keep your weight under control, keep the things in your life all in the right place. And, that's the kind of stuff that allows you to wrestle at a high level. And if I was wrestling myself, I know that person would be doing the same thing. So, it would be, I don't know. That'd be really interesting to see. I would prepare the same way as I normally do. So, interesting question.
Looking back on your career, there's another Cornellian that has an interesting side note about his career, and that he won more NCAA titles than he did state titles, and that's Kyle Dake. You're in that same situation. If somebody were to ask you coming out of high school and be like, you're going to win more NCAA titles than you did state titles, what would you have told them?
I would have laughed, I would have laughed so hard, because I wouldn't have believed him. When I came out of high school, I remember when my gap year that I took, my gray shirt year, my first tournament I went 0-2. I never won a tournament. I placed at a few. I didn't see much success, and I remember coming in my freshman year, and I was like, man, my goal is just to win the starting position and be the starting 184 pounder on Cornell's team. And then, once that happened, I was like, okay, like, it'd be kind of cool to, like, maybe make it to nationals. And then I think I went out to Las Vegas and I won that. And I was like, okay, so I beat some pretty good guys. And I was like, actually, I think it'd be kind of cool to be an All-American. And then I wrestled Ed at the Southern Scuffle, and I was like, okay, like, I think it'd be kind of cool to be a national champ. And that just kind of built. In high school, I didn't win a state title my senior year. The one state title I won was my junior year. And if someone would have told me I would have won more national titles than a state title, I would have thought they were hilarious, and that they probably needed to get off the drugs that they were on. So I've been so totally blessed, so grateful. I've had tremendous support. I know when you see it, it only looks like it's me out there wrestling, but there's about 1,000 people out there with me that have helped me get to that point, and I would not be where I am today without all those people. So I've been extremely blessed, and I wouldn't change my journey or my path, any of it. It's been incredible.
Now, you mentioned the gap year, the gray shirt year. Some people call it an Ivy shirt or deferment. And that's really when the Finger Lakes Club really started to blossom. And there's not a whole lot been discussed about the athlete's perspective in that. What's that year like? What do you guys go through in preparation to basically, you're treating it kind of like a red shirt with the regional training center. I mean, what is that experience like?
I mean, honestly, it's kind of like Hell Week every week. Like what the Navy SEALs do. I mean, obviously it's not like that, but you feel that because you're coming out of high school, and I don't really I can speak to this. I don't really know how, it doesn't really matter how good you are when you come out of high school. I mean, there's just select few that are like already at the top of the college game when they come out of high school. But still, like, even if you were a great high school wrestler, you're going to come into a college wrestling room or a regional training center and you're going to get the crap kicked out of you no matter what. And I think the biggest determinant of what makes and breaks kids at the college level is whether that first year they're motivated to get better by that adversity that's presented to them by not being the best anymore that they used to be, or if they just accept the defeat and kind of, take the normal route that, a lot of kids fall into. Wrestling is a very self-motivated sport. It's why it's the best sport on this planet. Obviously I'm biased, but it teaches you so much that you can take and do later in your life. And that first year is what really actually probably makes or breaks kids, because you are stepping, you're adjusting to a whole nother level. And, it's whether you can handle it or not.
Cornell's a unique experience because it is an Ivy League school. It has a wrestling tradition. I remember a couple years ago when Cornell wrestled Iowa in the national duels, I thought that it was a great thing for wrestling because you take it out of the wrestling environment and you can say, hey, look, this is the Ivy League against the Big Ten. This is it's something that would be unique if you put it on ESPN and be like, see, the Ivy League is battling the Big Ten in Iowa. I thought that was unique. Right. And Cornell has a great program with that. But the one thing that Cornell also has is a sarcastic, very witty guy named Rob Cole, who's a pretty good coach. Explain the relationship you've got with Rob Cole.
Oh, I mean, you're very spot on about how you described him. People that know Coach Cole know him as kind of along those lines. But what more can I say about the man? He's taken an Ivy League school that is so hard on is all all about academics, as we know traditionally, and he's maintained that and also built one of the best wrestling programs in the country over a consistent yearly basis. I mean, I don't know how many, and he's built a staff who all have that same purpose: get a great education. There's life after wrestling, but also come here to wrestle and you can compete at the highest level. And that's why I chose Cornell, because, my parents raised me in the fact that, hey, Gabe, there's always life after wrestling, but you kind of, why would you not go to Cornell when you can get the best of both worlds? I mean, again, I'm biased, but there's the education, and then there's the opportunity that Coach Cole has built for you to wrestle for one of the best programs in the country. And I mean, he's gotten so many guys jobs. Every single one of his wrestlers in his senior class that graduates every year has had a job. He has not had one guy graduate without a job lined up. He's given people so much opportunity. He's a phenomenal head coach. He's a great guy. He keeps everything very light and lighthearted. He's very blunt, so he's very honest with you, which is great. And he lets you know exactly, what you need to do to get to this point, or, how you need to change to get better. And he's built a great staff around him with all the same vision for all the kids that come through his program. So I can't say enough about the guy. He's a phenomenal leader of our program.
I think he even got Redman a job at a college, didn't he?
Yeah, yep. Redman always has a job.
Well, the artist formerly known as Redman, I think that's a rotating. We're not going to name any names because I know some of the athletes who have actually played the role as Redman, but we won't reveal their secret identity.
Yeah, we got to keep that on. We can't tell anybody. That's a big no. We can't tell anybody who that is.
Yeah, that's like revealing that Bruce Wayne is Batman. You just can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect description of what it's like.
You explained on how your parents said that there's life after wrestling. Your dad was a pretty good wrestler in his day. I think that might be a little bit of an understatement. But what was it like discovering? I mean, did he push you into wrestling? Did he let you discover it on your own? Because we understand wrestling is one of those sports that's kind of passed down. You don't just kind of come out of the blue a lot of the times. Be like, okay, okay, I want to wrestle. Usually it's a brother, an uncle, a dad. But what was it like, being, entering into the sport of wrestling with Dave Dean as your dad?
So what I see a lot nowadays is I see these parents and they push their kids so hard in these different sports. And by the time they get old enough around my age or, when they're entering college, they're so burnt out that they don't have the motivation themselves and they can't reach that next level. I'm so grateful because my father, he obviously manipulated it a little bit because he was a wrestling coach at Michigan State when I was growing up for, a lot of my childhood. And he would bring me around a lot. I became friends with the guys. I learned how to play euchre on the bus trips. He'd bring me to bus trips when they were wrestling like Purdue and they'd be wrestling Penn State. And, that's where I learned how to play euchre and like card games and stuff like that. And I was kind of like their little buddy, when I was growing up, and me and my brother were. So, he kind of manipulated in that sense. He'd bring us around wrestling a lot, let us run all over the mats, after practice and stuff like that. And, but he never pushed us into it. By the time we were old enough, we've been around it so much, and we've been around football a lot too. We just wanted, we played all kinds of sports when we were young, but when we started, getting older, we were just like, we want to wrestle because, the guys that we look up to and the people that we love all do this, and we've been around it. But he was never like forcing wrestling upon us. He was always just, letting us enjoy it. I can't tell you how many times I tried to quit. I quit wrestling when I was a kid, and then the next day I wanted to wrestle again. I remember a specific time where I quit wrestling, and the next day my dad was like, "Hey, Max, let's go to wrestling practice. We're going to have a great time. We'll go get some ice cream, and we'll go have some fun after. Maybe we'll go to a movie or something." And then he looked at me and he's like, "Hey, Gabe, you make sure you stay home, you do your chores, and you help your mom clean up the house. And, while me and Max are at practice." And I just always remember thinking, man, wrestling practice sounds like a lot more fun right now. And he had different ways, just kind of, lightheartedly fun ways bringing me back to the sport. And then by the time I was old enough, I developed a deep passion for the sport, and I loved it. And I was able to, use my own internal motivation. I wasn't burnt out. I was fresh. I was kind of raw, and I just kind of took it on my own. And I really appreciate that about my dad because he knew what was in front of me if I wanted to be a college wrestler and if I wanted to be successful. And he never pushed me hard for his own personal reasons, for his own personal ego. He would have been proud of me no matter what I did. And I know, my parents, they're both that way. And it's made it really easy on me because I know no matter what, when I come home at night, whether I failed or I lost or I won, my parents love me. And it's sad that some kids have to worry about that because they've been pushed so hard by their parents. And when they come home at night, they're like, if they've lost or they haven't done as well, they have to question whether their dad, still cares about them. And I really appreciate the way my parents have raised me.
And your dad's done some coaching up there with Finger Lakes as far as the regional training center goes. How has that kind of changed the dynamic from, okay, Dad, you're a high school coach back in Michigan, to all of a sudden be like, okay, you're actually kind of out here more frequently than you used to be?
I mean, it was awesome. I was just like, my dad and I are so close. We have an incredible father and son relationship, and he means everything to me. I would say that, there's a select few men, like very few men in my life where I say, that's the man that I am, the reason I am today. And my dad is one of those people. He taught me so many life lessons, so many things that I'll carry with me, and taught me, not only how to be a better wrestler, but how to be a great father someday, how to be a great husband someday, how to be a great family man someday. And just having him around more, I mean, that just makes it better for me. So it was just awesome. I just absolutely loved it. And being able to see him every day and stuff like that was so cool. So it's great.
So again, circling back to the life after wrestling, we're going to continue the wrestling portion of the life after wrestling here in a minute. But you're gonna have the Cornell degree sooner than later. And when you went into college, what were your career aspirations? What were you looking to get out of college with the degree and be like, okay, this is what I want to do in life?
Well, I'm in the business school at Cornell, majoring in applied economics and management, and you really can take a business degree and go wherever you really want to go. My dad runs, a pretty big tournament company called New Way, and he runs a lot of wrestling tournaments all over the company. And I just knew, for me personally, my career, whatever I fell into, I always wanted to be involved in some kind of sports, and I always wanted to be, no matter what, there's going to be some kind of business. And there's plenty of that around at Cornell. And things change as your career goes. You're thinking this thing, and then you switch over, and you're like, okay, maybe this is a better path. But it's the sports part and the business part has always stayed consistent for me, and I'm not even sure what I'm going to do yet after this year, but I definitely have options, which is always important.
How close was football to taking you away from wrestling coming out of high school?
Really, really close. Really close. I thank God that I had the experience I did with the recruiting, because that's what ultimately drove me away from football. And obviously I couldn't imagine my life being any different now, but I wanted to play football all the way up until going into my senior year in high school. I wanted to play football at the next level. And after that recruiting visit, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to I don't like in football. They tell you what you're going to be. They tell you how great you're going to be based upon how tall you are, how big you are, how fast you run. And I don't like that. I was like, they're not accounting for some of the X factor, which is your mental game in football. And in wrestling, that's pretty much 95% of the sport. And I was like, I want to be able to control my own destiny. I don't want to have to rely on a bunch of people that are going to tell me how great I'm going to be. And that's what that recruiting visit cleared up for me. So I'm very thankful that happened.
I should know this answer, but I don't. So if you're a two-sport athlete, are you getting 5 trips total, or are you getting 5 trips per sport?
I think you only get 5 trips total.
Okay, and and how did you split those up with wrestling and football?
I took 2 official visits for wrestling, Michigan, and I took an official visit to Cornell, and then football, it was like unofficial, and also coaches would come and watch me work out, and usually the Michigan State came one time and watched me work out. I had like Western Michigan come, Dayton, Ohio sent me some stuff, but the bigger schools would come and watch me work out, and they turn away because I just wasn't the body, especially a quarterback. I wasn't the body, and so I didn't really go on any visits for football because they'd look at my highlight film, they'd see, this little guy running around out there at quarterback, and I didn't spark much interest on the Division I level. On the Division II and III level, I got letters and stuff, but by that time I had already taken my visit I had gone down to Georgia Tech for a combine, and I was like done with football. So I never really took any actual official visits for football.
All right, I got to know, was there a school going, hey, you can do both? Was there any one of those type of places you're like, you know what, I might consider that?
No. There wasn't any school that would say you can do both. There was nothing like that.
Although you're looking at this season, the season Western Michigan's had, and you ever sit there and be like, that would be interesting?
Honestly, yeah, undefeated, and who are they playing in a bowl again?
I don't know. There's 500 bowls. I care about one bowl game, and that's the one game honestly, my alma mater is in, and they're playing Eastern Michigan, so I could give a crap about the other bowl games. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's 41 bowl games. My grandpa told me that today, and it's like it's hard to keep track of them all. But yeah, I mean, you look at Western Michigan and what they've done this year, and you're like, wow, that's pretty awesome. Good for them and the Kalamazoo area, which I haven't seen too many W's in a long time. So happy for them and their program, definitely.
Yeah, be much happier if they still had a wrestling program, but I think that's another day, another conversation for sure.
Yes, absolutely. I don't want to get too down on the football schools that drop their wrestling programs on your podcast right now, but that always is very disappointing.
All right, now we're circling back to life after college wrestling, because you talked about you only get one chance to do this, and then Matt Lindland's been in your ear. You talked about this earlier about how you trained some Greco. After your career at Cornell is completed, how much of a run are you going to give to 2020? And have you considered, going freestyle or Greco? A lot of people are saying, "Oh, you wrestled that Greco thing. We need him in Greco."
I'm definitely going to make a run at 2020. I can say that publicly. Whether or not I'm wrestling freestyle or Greco is a decision that I actually haven't totally made yet, and it's something that I'm going to have to sit down and consider after this year, after I finish up my last full style season here, and decide going forward. So I can't say publicly what I'm going to do on that yet, because I actually don't know, and that will be a decision made not only by me but where my greatest potential is. So
fair enough. All right, so you Taylor Miller at USA Wrestling had done a story on you earlier in the year talking about, having your fear, and one of your fears is not being, laying it all out there on the table. A lot, and you mentioned that you've seen fathers push their kids into different sports, and that can lead to a certain anxiety when it comes to losing. Any advice for kids out there to help them try to deal with the stress of that situation, and those who like maybe overanalyze and stress out about, I can't lose this match, I can't lose.
Yeah, my advice is the times that I've done it, I usually end up losing. I can speak from experience because I have gotten mental before wrestling matches. I have gotten mental for whole wrestling tournaments. I have not. And you know what? When you focus on and you're fearing the losing, you tighten up. You don't wrestle as well as you can because you're just trying to win. And really, when you eliminate the factor, everybody's like win. Everybody wants to win. Everybody's got that in common. But you have to separate yourself some way different, because you have to have a different mental game, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to win, and you can't focus on losing and winning because it will just make you wrestle tight. And that's my experience. You just got to go out there. You can't control the outcome of a wrestling match. You can't control whether you win or lose. You just got to go out there and wrestle and let the rest take care of itself. And that's been the biggest thing that I've learned. It's way more fun that way. It's way more relaxing. You have way less anxiety going into wrestling matches, and you're just kind of at peace because you prepared the right way, you're mentally in the right place, and you're just going out there to compete as hard as you can. And honestly, for young kids that think it's all about winning and losing, it's really not. It's more about the experience. It's more about dealing with the adversities that this sport brings. I talk about this sport being the best sport that there is, and the reason is because it's so individual, and you have to deal with so many things on your own and so many different adversities on your own that help you become a much better man or woman down the road. Things I've learned in wrestling are going to help me become a much better father to my children someday, and a much better husband to my wife someday. And those things you can't replace. You can't learn some of those things in other sports that wrestling teaches you. You got to be disciplined. Teaches you how to do all these different things. And when you focus on winning and losing and the accolades of the sport, you're missing out on that whole big piece that is the most important thing. And that's becoming a better human being, and how wrestling can help you become a better person. And that's what I love about this sport. That's what I focus on, and that's whether I'm in an adverse moment in my life in this sport, or if it's going well, I know that I'm still working towards the same goal with everything, and that's just trying to become a better person every single day and trying to make a difference every single day. And that's what wrestling is to me. It's not about winning and losing. It's not even, I've won 2 national titles, and I've had All-American honors 3 times, but that's not what I'm most proud of. I'm most proud of my relationships that I've built at Cornell, the people that I've gotten to know, the people that have taught me things, and that's what I'm most grateful for and proud of. And the national titles are all something that will carry with me the rest of my life, but I'm most grateful that I've been able to meet and be around such wonderful people.
Dude, that's pretty powerful. And it makes me kind of trip over the next thing I'm about to say, because we're about to go to some fun stuff. You dropped some deep knowledge right there. Some great sound bites. It's like, well, how the hell am I supposed to have the fun part of the show now? So, that's really good stuff, though. That's something I want everybody to stop, go back, rewind that about 2 minutes, listen to it again. And if you don't get it, stop, use that little back button on your iPhone and do it again, because that clip that Gabe said is what really sums this sport up. And I don't think enough people really make that a priority and making wrestling fun, being, it's not about winning and losing. And we can say it all you want. You've actually lived it and you're preaching it. So I want people to go back, and if you can cut that out and listen to it again and again, I would highly recommend it. Now, the butt kissing is out of the way. Are you ready for some rapid fire, 10 questions, 90 seconds?
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it, man.
Question 1, your favorite person to follow on Twitter?
My favorite person to follow on Twitter, other than Jason Bryant?
Nice!
What's that kid that's got the new dance moves, the really funny dance moves? I love watching him. I can't think of his name, but I don't actually I have a Twitter, but I deleted it off my phone. I signed off of Twitter until after March. But my brother showed me this kid and I always have to pull up his dance moves because they're so funny. I can't think of his name. He's a really skinny kid. People that are listening right now, the young kids probably know who I'm talking about because he's really popular right now. But
yeah, the old guys like me have no clue.
Yeah. He's a really, really skinny, strong kid. But he posts all these dances all the time, and they're hilarious. So that's my answer to that. Yeah,
you're definitely gonna blow through the 90 seconds like it's not even a problem. Okay, question 2. You win the Olympic gold medal. What do you have for dinner?
Ribeye steak with lobster mac and cheese and some steamed broccoli on the side.
I get a hunch you know a place where you're going to get that too, right?
Yeah. Well, wherever the nearest steakhouse is, that's where I'm going, because that's what we're eating that night.
I understand Tokyo has some pretty wicked Kobe beef. We'll have to wait 4 years for that one. See if that one comes to fruition. All right. Question 3. Who's the best wrestler people don't talk about?
That's what people don't talk about. I'm just going to say for my program, he's also getting inducted to the EIWA Hall of Fame. I think Mac Lunis was one of the best wrestlers to ever win a national title. And those things that he can do in the room, and I've seen him do, I'm just like, wow, that guy is unbelievable. And it's sad that he didn't win a national title, but I think he's one of the best wrestlers that people don't talk about.
And that's also tied into question 2, because Lunis' Steakhouse. We haven't had a Lunis' Steakhouse reference on this show actually, this show never. It's been a long time since we've had a Lunis' Steakhouse reference. So maybe you can win the Olympic gold and go to Lunis' Steakhouse and get
That's where I'm going.
Yeah,
That's
there we go. There we go. All right.
Perfect.
Question 4. All-time favorite flavor of Gatorade?
I'm really in the fierce green apple Gatorade. I'm just so into it. That's so funny you asked that, because I've been, all the guys give me such a hard time, and it's so good. I love that. I love that kind of fierce green apple.
Favorite video game of all time?
Oh, NFL Street, first one.
Ooh, good one.
Original Xbox.
Good one. Favorite international wrestler outside of yourself?
Favorite international wrestler? Oh God, probably Bucevar Satiev is probably one of my favorites to watch right now.
And I also think we're 300 episodes in almost, and that's the most common answer from a non-American too. So Satiev is like number 1 on the list so far. While we're keeping with that theme, question 7. What move would you rather have in your arsenal? The John Smith low single or the Jordan Burroughs double?
Me personally, John Smith low single because I'm not the kind of athlete that could hit Jordan Burroughs glass double. So I'd rather have John Smith low single.
Who's one guy from history you'd like to wrestle regardless of weight class?
Holy smokes. Mark Ironside.
No. That's a guy I definitely wouldn't expect to be the answer. I don't want to. Yeah, I like the answer. I wouldn't want to wrestle him, though.
Yeah, Mark Ironside. He just, I love watching him. And him and Brent Metcalf, I love both those guys. They're awesome, and they'd be so much fun to wrestle.
Number 9, funniest teammate.
Funniest teammate? Oh, that's one easy. Dylan Palacio. Dylan Palacio is funniest teammate by far.
Yeah,
character.
Yeah, that's gonna you're gonna lead into the final question as we end up. Question 10: what is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal. Everybody on my team calls me the bear, so bear.
All right. Well, the spirit answer is the most boring answer of the 10. Good job. You got at it. I think you set a new record for slowest, but most diverse and robust answers. So awesome, awesome stuff there.
That's what you want, anyways, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change the segment up, man. You're breaking new ground here. This is gonna be like a serious part of the show.
Well, me and you, man, we've been flowing pretty well. It's been a great conversation, so I've been really enjoying it.
And what people don't know, this is the first time, other than like a press conference question over the past 3 years, this is like the first interaction other than a text message we've had. So none of this is scripted, folks. It's not like we have a great rapport and we're throwing. It's like, yeah, man, good to see you again.
This is a text out of the blue, and it was a couple texts back and forth. You know, you eat dinner with your family, me having travel issues, but that's about it.
Yeah, so I like where this is going here. So that leads into my next question in terms of, you mentioned Dylan, and this is a team, this group of guys coming through, finishing up, a team of very different personalities. You've got yourself, you've got Dylan, you got Robuto, you've got Mark Gray, you've got a very diverse group of backgrounds and teams. What makes this an interesting, cohesive unit in Ithaca with guys like Palacio and guys like Robuto and Gray and yourself?
Well, first of all, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that this is a diverse group of personalities, because it's pretty obvious. We got a bunch of fun, different kind of personalities on our team. What makes it different is, I think, fundamentally, all our values are in the same place, and we all have the same vision, and that is what brings us all together. This is a very close team. We love to have fun. We're all there, and we all got each other's backs at the end of the day. And that's something that you can't really teach. It's just an inhabited thing. And from top to bottom of our starting lineup, and even into the depths of our backups and the other guys on our team, no matter what, everybody's got their back. Everybody knows we all got each other's backs, and we're very close. And all our values and our vision are in the same place.
Is Dylan Palacio as goofy and I guess full of personality as people think he is?
Yes, even more actually. Don't just wait till you get to know him. You just wait till you get to know him. He gets even goofier. So,
is he a guy that wakes up super early to watch soccer?
He's a guy that he might not even sleep, man. I don't even know if he sleeps. I don't even know if the guy sleeps. I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
That's one we'll have to figure out. We'll get him on the show in the future. But all right, Gabe, appreciate the time. Happy holidays, and we'll see you down the line.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on again, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
So, Dad, I plan out our whole day. First, we'll make snow angels for 2 hours, and then we'll go ice skating, and then we'll eat a whole roll of Toll House cookie dough as fast as we can, and then, to finish, we'll snuggle.
How do you like that one, folks? Gabe Dean dropping some knowledge bombs here on episode 299 of the Short Time Wrestling Podcast. And, I just changing things up here. Last time I went with the clip from Airplane. This time I threw in one of my favorite holiday movies, Elf. I wanted to throw in the line with Cousin Eddie and the chemical toilet from National Lampoon's Vacation. But you know what? The clip was too funny that when I was editing, I cracked up laughing because the scene of, honey, if you checked it. Yeah, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So I just cracking myself up while I'm editing the post show here. So I'll leave that one to your imagination. Same with Clark taking the spray on the saucer and just flying through That was one of the funnier lines ever. So funnier parts of Christmas Vacation ever. A lot of good Christmas movies. Charlie Brown Christmas. We got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, Die Hard 2. You know, those are good old Christmas movies. I mean, who doesn't like? I mean, I'm gonna have to. My wife's sitting here in front of me as I finish up the show, and I don't know if she's actually seen the 2 Die Hard movies. I'm looking and getting a blank stare, a shake of the head.
Home Alone, classic.
Okay. Oh, what? Home Alone. Abby's going to re-enter the podcast
Anything
world.
on Lifetime?
Nothing on Lifetime, she said.
Anything on
She said
Hallmark?
nothing on Lifetime or nothing on Hallmark. So she's really good with that. So long story short, wish everybody has a happy holiday out there with whatever it is you will favor in celebrating. Here at this house, we do the Christmas thing. I'm sure some folks down the block do the Hanukkah thing, and all the other particular reasons for the season, whatever they may be. Have a safe and happy one. My next trip will be the Midlands. Yep, Midlands. Don't know if we'll see Mike Midlands Schmidlin there, the 52-year-old master of the chin whip. He actually entered a couple years ago, so that's the next spot I will be. This is the last interview of 2016. And Gabe Dean, man, follow him at Twitter, at Dabe Geen. That's basically invert the letters of his first and last name. Gabe Dean, so instead of a G, it's a D. Instead of a D, it's a G. So you do that, follow him on Twitter. He's not going to reply, as he said. He's shut down answering Twitter until the end of the NCAA championships. Now I'm getting a blank there. What can I help you with, my love?
Are you going to be traveling the week of January 3rd?
as my wife looks at me, and nice segue into that. So the week of January 3rd, in case you're wondering, and we'll have a little family talk here. This is, I'm just leaving this stuff in because the week of January 3rd, yes, I will be flying out on Wednesday, January 4th to Fort Wayne, Indiana for the NWCA Multi-Divisional National Duels back on Saturday, then turning around, coming back and leaving on Wednesday, January 11th for the Virginia Duels, the 37th annual.
Who approved all this travel?
You did, my dear. Yes. So 37th annual Virginia Duels. They'll be streamed this year live on Track Wrestling. That's a change from the past. So virginiaduels.com, virginiaduels.org. Find out the information there. Then I'm hanging out for a bit and trying to work in the Women's Collegiate Wrestling Championships, the WCWA Championships in Oklahoma City in mid-February. But those are my next couple weeks of travel. Going to be adding some international stuff as well. Again, who approved this travel? You did. And I'm looking to my loving wife as she shakes her head. Yeah. You like that wrapping job, too. I like the fact that she's in here now. We've arranged the desk that I can actually see her when I'm talking. And getting some non-verbal communication here. Anyway, so I'd like to thank everybody for listening. I also want to thank a couple of the team members here at Matt Talk Online, Steve Sanko, Chris Barnes, and Mark Kozik for sending in their questions for Gabe Dean. We weaved them in, and they did that at the private Matt Talk Online Facebook group. Now, not the fan page, which anybody can like out there, and I appreciate those thousands of you that have liked the page, but this is part of the team membership. So if you are interested in contributing to this program and this network, whether it be the Short Time Wrestling Podcast, the Hall of Fame Legends series, or just contributing to the daily email newsletter that goes to over 700 of you, there's a way to contribute to that, and you get perks out of it. One of those perks is the Facebook group, which I'm working on getting more of our people engaged and getting questions. So 3 of those questions that were asked were from members of our team. So you can do so by going to matttalkonline.com/join the team to do that today. So also want a big thanks to those of you that have contributed over the year 2016. It's been a fantastic year as the Matt Talk Podcast Network, churning forward 19 shows on the network. It is blowing up. Blown up, sir. Okay, there's a Stripes reference for you. So also want to throw this thing out. Living in Minnesota, we don't have that many Cornell grads up here. And in 2 different cases in the past, during the summertime, went and took my daughter to the park. Well, my wife kind of dragged me to the park with our daughters. I don't actually think, the younger one wasn't born yet. So we're taking Lucy to the park. And, there's somebody wearing a wrestling shirt, and all of a sudden you start a conversation. One guy, Jim, he's a referee, and the other guy, Nick, apparently started his career at Minnesota, then ended up going to Cornell. And I remember I'm wearing that blue shoot shirt that I have. And I see him wearing a Cornell wrestling shirt. And my wife points it out. She goes, hey, look, he's got a wrestling shirt on. And, of course, that just perks up me like, okay, how can I start a conversation here? Because wrestling shirts in cauliflower ear are like the conversation starters. As, again, I'm getting a sarcastic head nod and eye roll from my beautiful wife here. And she's going to go play Dr. Mario now. Anyway, before I lose you here. So I want to give Nick Halverson a shout out because we're sitting there and I said something to him about, the shirt he was wearing. I was like, oh, yeah, what's Rob Cole up to these days? Just joking. He's like, how do you know Rob? And then that was the conversation starter. So Nick lives in the neighborhood here. We haven't had a chance to get that coffee yet. But, Nick, I'm giving you a shout out here on the Short Time Wrestling Podcast because we did have a Cornellian on the show in Gabe Dean who was freaking awesome. One of my favorite interviews of the year. Absolutely, bar none, one of my favorite interviews of the year. Rambling here, but Nick, you get a shout out, and our team members again, Steve Sanko, Chris Barnes, Mark Kozik, for your contributions to the program and to the network. Don't know if I'm going to have another show before the end of the new year. We got a couple shows lined up for other programs on the network that we got to get to. Of course, Virginia Tech, Old Dominion, Buena Vista are the team shows on the network. Daryl Weber has been dropping, again, more knowledge with his coaching ability on the Attack Style Wrestling Podcast, which you can find at attackstylewrestling.com. So much good stuff coming to you for 2017. I'm excited for you. Thank you. Happy holidays. And if you see me at the Midlands, come say hi. What's up? And we'll chat a little bit. So until then, thank you for spending your time with me because you've always got time. For short time, yeah. I really need to stop singing. Like forever.
This show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to MattTalkOnline.com.